My name is Harshal Chowgule and I am from electrical department in Sandeep University, Nasik, Maharashtra and India. And my presentation topic is on different protection schemes for complex power system. So these are the points which I am going to cover and the research area which I will be dictating after these points. There are certain objectives of protection schemes in the power system, components, the protection devices, relays, types and other types of breakers. So this is the first and foremost thing which a power system network requires is called as a current transformer. It is a type of a transformer that is used to reduce and or multiply the AC current. So it produces a current in secondary, which is proportional to that of the primary. Because CT is one part which is made for current transformer or for measuring the current. Similarly, another protection device is which is there into the power system network is the potential transformer. We call it as a voltage transformer also, and it is used for measurement of potential, that is voltage, into the power system network. So it is made up of such a quality that high alternating voltages in the power system network can easily be measured with these devices. And there are certain objectives of protection. There are various types of faults which occurs into the power system network, which includes symmetrical faults and unsymmetrical faults. In order to have a satisfactory operation and customer satisfaction, there are certain objectives that the power system faults must be minimized so as the customer is being satisfied completely. And this can be made with the help of initialization of various components that a power system network requires, which needs to be protected. And those includes the generators, transformers, the bus bars, and the transmission lines. So these four are the components wherein most of the power system faults takes place. So apart from that, for all these components, there are certain protective techniques also. So fuses, protective relays, circuit breakers, CTPT, which we have discussed earlier, and the last one is the DC supply system. So all these are the protective systems which a power system network all over the globe uses initially. So the voltage or current level may be high or huge. Such type of protection schemes are being required depending upon their ratings also. Then the main function of fuse is that it is a current interrupting device. So if a current increases beyond a certain limit, then it interrupts that current, securing the load side equipment. So it interrupts the excessive current. This is the function of a fuse, the first component. The second component is called as a relay. There are various types of relays initialized or installed in the power system network, and those are electromechanical, static, numerical, and thermal. So depending upon the applications and the load side equipments, these type of relays are being installed into the power system network. So it is nothing but a breaker which trips under abnormal condition, making the healthy part and the faulty part aligned with each other. The third is the breaker. It is called as a circuit breaker. There are various types. ELCB is there, earth leakage circuit breaker, miniature circuit breaker, molded case circuit breaker. So vacuum circuit breaker is there, air circuit breaker is there. These are being installed into the power system network, which includes the distribution stations, the sub distribution stations, etc. So depending upon the voltage level also, these circuit breakers are being categorized differently, and the various arc quenching mediums are there depending upon the types. Oil circuit breakers has oil as an arc quenching medium, same is for vacuum air, and same is for SF6. SF6 is nothing but sulfur hexafluoride gas. So with these things, what I want to conclude is that the power transmission and the power distribution and the generating principles has different protection schemes, which apart from having such type of protection components, has complex power system problems. So these complex power system problems can be designed and accomplished in several ways with different complexities and options. So there is uh, protection of these design adequates and divided into multiple zones of each zone that can be individually projected or protected against the corresponding faults. So for these things, various types of other components are there, which includes facts control devices, distance relays, protection scheme, differential relays, transmission lines. So that's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentations.
Doctor, I think you are fine. Everybody are fine here. So my project is about optical fiber transmission network incident management, basis convolution neural network method. My name is Abdou Diop from Dakar University of Senegal. So for more detail, I share my presentation with you. Let's begin. The first question can be why transmission network, or what is transmission network? So the transmission network is the support network for all telecommunication system. This part of network allow us to exchange information on networks such as Ethernet. For example, without transmission, no access to internet. In short, this transmission is the most important of every network. And second question can be why optical fiber transmission? Because in network, we can use wire or wireless transmission network. But today, optical fiber is the most support used for transmission in all telecommunication network, because it offers very high speed and cover very long distance. For example, if you want to have fast access to internet, we have to use optical fiber, or if you have application who those demanding high speed, or in new generation network like 3G, 4G, and 5G, we need fiber optic. But fiber optic is brittle. It is very expensive. Tools, installation and maintenance tools are expensive, relatively high civil engineering costs, and expertise is so rare. So the situation here in Senegal is that we have many road construction on fiber passage. We have also construction of building on fiber passage, pit cleaning, rain, and other factor. So that cause many incidents in the fiber transmission network. We propose one solution in the management of incident in optical network in Senegal, based on convolution neural network, that for fast and more efficient incident detection, to reduce downtime, improve service recovery, and automatic processing. So we propose this model. It is a CNN model. First, we have to give an image. This image is a network transmission image. We collect them from our operator, telecommunication operator. So the first operation to do is an convolution and pooling operation. This is the first operation of the model that will give us a new model, but a new image, but the image will have small dimension than the first model. And on this new model, a new image, this new image, we apply a flattening layer. A flattening layer is an operation of convolution network to prepare information. So the result of flattening operation is give to a neural network. Neural network is used to training our model. The result of training is give to activation function like release. The result of this activation function is give to another neural network for training, second training, and the result of the training is give to an activation function that give us the link status. Maybe model will tell the link is down, the link is cut, the link is up. So this is our model used for in our project, and here I take some image of our data set used for training the model. You can see our network, fiber optical transmission network. Here we have all link up. Here we have also all link up. Here we have one incident of link down. Here we have an image where we have also link cut. So the model will help us to detect incident in a fiber optical transmission network. But we have used the data set and the model, and the first experimentation result is here. We have 4 models. In each model, we have an unconvolution layer, we have an pooling layer, we have full connecting layer, we have an accuracy we have. So, and we have also an activation function for each one with the first model, second, 3, and 4 model. In order to improve the result, we also make a second experimentation, but in the second experimentation, we add one more layer we call dropout layer, and we have a new result. And this result is here. We can see we improve the result, and in the next process, we will try to use another model in order to help in detection, in troubleshooting of fiber optical transmission network. So that is our project. Thank you for listening to me. If any question, I will be available by email or chat. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you for your presentation.
My name is Karam Sabri Hadith Al Janabi. I am study electric power. My presentation is different control method design for wind turbine in hybrid photovoltaic wind system. Renewable energy-based systems are abundant, predictable, and clean in nature. This pollution, environmental degradation, or global warming major hindrance to use of hybrid energy system is high initial capital cost. In this fig type of renewable power energy showing in the fig. And this fig is the energy of source. Objective: building a model of a standard hybrid PV wind system. Application of different control methods of the wind turbine pitch angle using state space representation, BID, H infinity, LQR. System diagram. The entire hybrid system comprises of PV and the wind system. The output power of the solar PV cell is highly dependent on the ambient temperature and the sun irradiance. The figure is hybrid PV and wind system. PV system. Small-scale system was simulated in MATLAB. The basic block diagram of the power PV system consists of solar PV panel, DC and to DC power converter with MPPT controller, SPWM single-phase converter. MPPT maximum power point tracking method is employed to increase utilization of the PV panel by ensuring the transition of maximum power where the power varies constantly with environmental conditions such as temperature and irradiance. Wind turbine. The model of preeminent magnetic synchronous generator based on the wind energy conversion system consists of 1 wind energy conversion, number 2 wind turbine, number 3 BMSG, number 4 converter. The figure is modeling in MATLAB. Wind turbine state space model. The state space model is used for control objective. This representation is a way to describe a physical system through the variable, their input and output, which are related by different equations. Using the drivetrain model figure, which consists of the first order motion equation, rendered either the low speed and the high speed shift. Wind turbine state space model explain the equal. PID controller. Due to its simplicity, linearity, functionality, easy implementation in controller system, the PID controller is considered as the most versatile controller. In designing this controller, the nonlinear dynamic parameter of the wind turbine system is linearized at it is one operating point in order to get the optimized values of PID. Modified gain is applied to improve the performance of PID controller in wind turbine, which is called gain scheduling, that is proposed to compensate the change in the sensitivity of the aerodynamic torque to the blade pitch angle. H infinity. The idea of the H infinity is the minimize of the effect of the noise and disturbance acting on the system without making any assumption on them. H infinity, the closed loop state space model from omega t to z become as shown the equal if there exists a symmetric positive Q and a matrix R. There exists a state feedback controller which stabilizes to the system in equal one. This the optimal H infinity controller is obtained from a Q equal R Q minus 1. The following inequality is obtained by transforming W equal QX to achieve convexity. A linear quadratic regulation. Using the previous state space model for wind turbine system pitch controller, a linear quadratic regulation RQR as state feedback is used with a quadratic cost function for the regulation problem at the trying point can be defined as the equal, where Q is or Isawi 0 and R the symmetric matrices of high, which may be scheduling in terms of the main wind V. The Whiting matrix R and Q are selected based on the Bryson rule, which stated that it is matrix such that all diagonals with the non-zero element are selected, and the variable that are present in the optimizing criteria have a maximum value of 1, and the state vector and unit are numerically different as per the different computation of the command such as pitch angle and electromagnetic torque. In the simulation, the operating point for the linearization of the system corresponds to the average value of the wind speed of 15 minutes per second in BID regulation. BID method has a large overshoot and large time response, while H infinity algorithm has a much smaller one, which can reduce the acting on pitch actuator so as to enhance pitch controller performance of large wind turbine. This paper constructed wind turbine dynamic model given a LQR pitch controller algorithm based on discordance correcting according to LQR controller theory. This method cloud reduced pitch actuators movement and had good controller performance on generator rotate speed. The simulation result showed that this method has good performance and it is simply and effective, so it has the great potential to be applied into engineering. BID controller has the simplicity, high efficiency, and it is easily tunable, but it is not applicable in nonlinear wind turbines and given low performance when sudden change of wind speed occurs. In H infinity, it is possible to control gains with the change of performance condition. No need of momentary estimator concerning system parameter, but the performance dependent on linear turbine model. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Karam, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good research work on MATLAB and a good conclusion with respect to the mathematical modeling also. We'll be in touch. Please share your email address. I'll mail you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon from here. I'm Solomon Uweoke from Department of Business and Accounting, Muscat College in the Sultanate of Oman. I will be presenting on the predictive power of self-efficacy, training content, on jump performance, the moderatory role of training effectiveness. This study was conducted in higher education sector in Oman. First, my presentation outline. We look at the introduction first, then look at the literature review and the methodology, the data collection, data analysis, the limitation, and also the conclusion. once we look at the introduction, okay, we all see that organizations spend a lot of money on training. They spend a lot of money on their resources, which is the human resource. And we all know that human resource is one of the most valuable assets of every organization. And because of this, according to the globally, organizations spend billions of dollars on training their employee. So a study by the Association for Talent Development, they said that organizations spend approximately $1,299 per employee on direct training, which is equal to 4.5. We also see that organizations can reap this advantage from this training, okay, like high productivity as well as what organizational performance, but only if this training is effective. Only if this training is effective. Or if the training is not effective, there is no way organization can reap. But despite all the money spent on training, we find out that little evidence have been presented on how effective the training is. And apart from that, we also discovered that a majority of studies have been done in different countries, especially in Europe, on training to employee performance, to organization performance, and other innovations and other outcomes. But we've found that there is no much, no studies on how effective this training is, and also the indirect role of the effectiveness of training. So because of this, we try to conduct this study, especially in an important sector which is the higher education sector, because those employees are from the higher education. They are a product of the higher education. So because of that, we said, okay, we're going to see how this thing is done and looking at the higher education sector, majority of the studies on the training, they focus more on the direct relationship, and they see generally positive. They see a positive relationship, okay? So to our knowledge, when training results in greater outcome, it remains limited. So like research like Ward and others, they've argued that the direct relationship should be investigated. So because of this, we have to look at this, because not that, apart from that, there's little to explain on the moderation role of training effectiveness. So we are not sure what studies have actually looked at this. Because of this, so we have to look at this factor, the moderating role of training effectiveness on training content and employee performance. So here we look at self-efficacy, which is the independent variable. We did a literature on self-efficacy, which is part of the details I have also reported in the report I sent. Then familiarity with the training content. We look at this, we have a literature review on this. Then training effectiveness, which is the moderating role. Then on employee performance. We all look at this, we have a detailed literature on this. Then we look at, when we look at the methodology, okay, we look at the methodology. This study is quantitative, okay, is quantitative. The population was 10 higher education institutions in Oman, 10 higher education institutions in Oman. Then we have a 184 as sample size, where the data collection was face-to-face. Then we give out 184, and at the end, we have what? A response 177, because 7 responses were removed because of what? Incomplete information. Then we have the measurement. The measurement, like self-efficacy, was measured with 8 items from null and weak 1993. Then also training effectiveness was also measured with 5 items from Z 1996 and Factil Hector 1995. Then also employee job performance was measured with 6 items, Jelinek et al. So in average, the age of the participants was what? 34 years old in average, which comprised of 38 male and also 62 female. Then this is the result at the end. We did a multiple regression analysis of the data. This is the result we found. And also, we also did hierarchical regression. This was the result from the hierarchical regression. Then from the result of the regression analysis, it was just as I showed to you in those tables, 1 and 2, self-efficacy and familiarity with training content was what? Significantly correlated with employee job performance. Okay, it was correlated with employee job performance. Then the multiple regression analysis result were also presented. They were significant at 0.05. In the variance explained was what? 0.456, which is 45.2% of the variation in high job performance. That is R square 46.8. So this is the result in detail. The detailed result is also presented in the report. We had 2 important results from the research. We hypothesized that self-efficacy and training content promotes high employee job performance. Based on our hypothesis, okay, by the result, employee with high efficacy and that those employees who are familiar with the content of the training will be effective in training. That is one of our conclusions. They will be effective, they will be successful in training than those with low self-efficacy who do not have knowledge of the content of the training. Again, we found that training effectiveness will moderate the relationship between self-efficacy and training content, and they will influence employee high job performance. So we therefore recommend that self-efficacy, based on what we found, we recommended that self-efficacy will play a very important role in the effectiveness of training. Self-efficacy will play a very important role in the effectiveness of any training program. Why? Because it does not only translate to training effectiveness, but also enhance sustainable training outcome. Self-efficacy will enhance sustainable training outcome. Again, training cannot reap complete benefit without self-efficacy. So training cannot reap the benefit without self-efficacy. The employee or whoever, the trainee, they must demonstrate that ability. Okay, they must be willing before we say the training can be effective. We also see the results, okay, also show that training familiarity with the training content, that is the trainee. Trainee are those who want to receive training. Their familiarity with the training content will affect the effectiveness and also high employee job performance. How that means when they are familiar with the content of the training, especially the training should be given to them in area that they are familiar with. Okay, when they are familiar with the training, like sharing of information about the training to them, this can make them the training to be effective. Okay, that is the familiarity of the training content, the more effective of the training program, and the greater job outcome of the training. So here it is necessary to provide training with what? Necessary information to enhance trainees' familiarity with the training outcome. Again, training need to have knowledge about the content of the training. Trainees, they need to have knowledge about the content of the training. This will help them to take the right training program. So when they have knowledge about the training, they will be able to take what? The right training program. Okay, the needed preparation before going into the training. They need also to prepare before going into the training and encourage them to put more effort for the training. This is part of our conclusion. Then the implication. From our study, we come up with some important implication, which I have summarized here. To improve training effectiveness, manager should provide important or related information prior to the training. Before the training, it is very, very important, supervisor, managers, to provide the information about the training to the trainee. This will help the training to be effective. Apart from that, we also find that management must concentrate on providing support. Without the support of the management, the training cannot be successful. They need to provide the support and also establish an effective training system. There must be a good training system that can accelerate the adoption of what? To the digital age. To the digital age. So it is the responsibility of the management to facilitate the system, the training system. Apart from that, we also come up with decision makers like the higher education institution. They have to take action to develop a new training courses for their employees. We need a new training courses. They have to set up strategies to constantly enhance the training system. So this is the role by what? Updating like the curriculum. Updating the curriculum with new content and other important information. Apart from that, we see that higher education, they are required to evaluate the effectiveness of training as component of improving the whole training system. So higher education institution, they have an important role to play in this regard. We come up with, there is no research, research is not without limitation. There is no research without limitation. This research is not without exception. Here we come up with some limitation and future research area. So one, we look at the time. Because of the time, it was not easy to examine all the higher institutions because of the time. We did not look at the higher institution. As I said earlier, we look at the 10 higher institutions in Oman. So we have more than 40 higher institutions in Oman, but we only consider 10. Only those 10, only private colleges were also involved in this study. So we all know that the practice in private colleges and that of the public institution may not perfectly be the same. Okay, so it's quite different from the public higher institution. So this also form part of our limitation. We also see that employee in the 10 higher education institution may not represent the entire institution in Oman. Okay, so because of the result related to entire higher education institution, we have limitations. And this research may possibly not be consistent over time as time progresses. So we also acknowledge these limitations. Apart from that, we also look at the sample. We look at the younger generation, especially the younger generation, younger employee. those employees who are in their early career stage, we look at them, okay? There are other categories of employees in this higher education institution. We did not consider these people. So these also form part of our limitation. Then we advise future research to focus on other sectors also. They can focus on other sectors to recognize how training effectiveness can moderate other factors and higher job employee performance, especially in the public institutions, These are some of our recommendation. Okay, this is just a brief summary of the my presentation. For details, you can refer to the report there. Thank you very much. Any question?
Thank you for your wonderful research work. We can be in touch. Please share your email address in the chat box. So this is for research purpose you have done this, or what exactly, like how is this research related? I wanted to understand.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's a quantitative, not qualitative. It's a quantitative research. Okay, we use a simple random sampling. Okay. Yeah, it's a quantitative research.
Okay. Questionnaires?
Yeah, we use questionnaire. As I said earlier, we adopted our questionnaire from these articles. Measures. Okay. Yeah, measures. This is where we adopted our questions from these. Yes.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. We'll be in touch. Please do share your email address. We will get in touch for further research.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Vaishnav Shinde from Trinity College of Engineering and Research, Pune, India. We have 4 members in our team. We all explain the presentation. Our topic is traffic sign detection using deep learning. Following topics are covered into today's presentation. Into today's presentation, first topic is an introduction of our project. There are 2 methods of traffic sign image processing. One is a detection and another is a classification. There are a lot of research on this domain, but we improve accuracy of image classification in our project. Traffic sign recognition plays an important role in driver assistance system and automated driving. However, this task is not easy for computer because of the large variations in visual appearances of traffic sign and image due to different viewpoints. Next topic is a motivation of our project. Traffic sign detection and alert system plays an important role here by detecting and recognizing a sign, thus notifying the driver of any upcoming signs. Traffic sign detection will help people to understand the meaning of signs. Traffic sign, we increase the accuracy of our system up to 95% and more. Following are the problem statement of our project. The traffic signal system is visible and stable. Drivers always follow the traffic laws. The driver has received the signal information. They can reduce the number of accidents on the road. Vaishnav, continue with the next slide. Thank you.
Thank you. Here are some literature survey based on our project, which is survey number 1, which SSLA based traffic sign and lane detection for autonomous cars. Author is S. Sweta, Dr. Shivakumar, and abstract is a machine learning algorithm is proposed in this paper. This algorithm is mainly used to train the shape models and help to detect the shape for traffic sign detection and lane detection. Here, there are more literature surveys, which is traffic sign detection and recognition using TensorFlow object detection API with a new benchmark dataset. And author is Irfan Klinik, and second one is traffic sign recognition using deep learning for autonomous driverless vehicle. Author is Supriya Prakash and Jayanti Sri. Fourth one is real-time traffic sign detection based on OLO network model, which is author of this title is Wenkao Yang. And next one is project scope. In project scope, the traffic sign focus on reduction of the traffic load on existing road network through various travel demand management measures. Traffic sign should remove the congestion and improve the traffic signal, road condition, and geometric features at intersections. I would like to request to Aniket Shelar to proceed next.
Here are some softwares which are used in our project. We use Spider IDE, we use Python for the backend programming language, and we use Thinkner for the front end to create graphical user interface for user. And here are some hardwares which we required for our project. First is a Pentium 4 processor with minimum speed of 1.1 gigahertz. We require minimum 512 MB RAM and 14 GB of hard disk. The algorithm which we'll use in our project is CNN algorithm. The convolutional neural network is a deep learning algorithm, basically which can take in the input image and assign important various except of the image, and we differentiate one from the other, and it classify in the artificial neural network. The next slide will explain by my friend Kiran Sheke.
Next is a system architecture. In this architecture, system takes the input from the user through live camera. Then data will be processed in system. Then the system display the output to the user. Next slide. Next is UML diagram. In this, first step is the registration, then login by user. Data will be processed using CNN algorithm. Then it sends voice alerts as output. Next. Then conclusion. We use CNN for traffic sign recognition. The images will be taken with a camera mounted on the car during the image acquisition stage, and the recognition process will be done using the CNN algorithm after the pre-processing. The machine issues a voice alert when a traffic sign is identified. This model can be used in circumstances requiring precise navigations. Next. Here are some references of the project. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Yeah, now we can see the screen.
And now, can you see it?
Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is Yuanwei Zhang, and I come from School of Medicine, Southeastern University in China. And my topic of speech is special microbiota transplantation materials bone loss in the mice mimicking post-osteoporosis involvement of gut microbiota of bone access. And the first is the research background. Osteoporosis is a cystic osteopathy caused by osteopenia and destruction of bone microstructure, which easily leads to increased bone fracture and related fractures. And PMOP accounts for more than 80% of OP, and it's usually accompanied by high fracture incidence rate and the disability rate and mortality rate.
which seriously threaten the physical and mental health of middle-aged and elderly women. And the current difficulties faced by PMOP prevention and treatment is very seriously. Okay, and the gut microbiota is the largest microbiome in human body, and the domestic balance in sterile microbiome is closely related to human health. And there is an inseparable relationship between GM and bone metabolism, which mainly the complex interaction between gut and bone and forming the gut-bone axis. And FMT is mainly used as the transplanted bacteria to the donor's stone to the recipient by the means of inter or oral method or administration. And the FMT can improve the material student of intestinal tract and provide a new concept and method for a variety of disease. And our foundation of the previous research in the early of our research group, the fees from PMOP patients and the health control groups are mainly detected. Such microbiota has been detected. It is suggested that gut microbiota may provide a potential target for the presentation and treatment of PMOP. And next is the research design. We have designed the experiment, and the left is the experimental outline, and the right is the collection and analysis of tissues. Second, next is the research contents. Firstly, we have constructed the mice models in each groups, and then we have prepared the FMT materials and the implementation of FMT. Next, we have completed the micro-CT analysis, and the historical examination has also been detected. Next, the instrumental barrier function has been detected, and the result has been shown here. Next, the information experimentation has also been evaluated in our experiment. Next, we have completed 16 SI high through-up sequence, and we have detected that FMT helps restore the abundance of microbiota, and FMT improves the microcomposition and the diversity. Next, we have also detected the alpha diversity and the beta diversity. We have seen the alpha beta diversity is optimistic and the beta diversity is improved. Next, we have also analyzed the results from the sequence. We have seen that these three microbiota has been the dominant microbiota. At last, we have also detected the SCFA targeted metabolicity, and we have seen the increased macrobonicity content, and we have also seen there are differences in these groups. And this is the research model diagram. Last is the research conclusions. We have seen FMT plays an active role in remodeling GM status and improving the bone loss. And we have also seen FMT can correct the imbalance of GM in PMOP mice and improve the level of SCFAS, optimize the instrument permeability and inhibited reach, so as to achieve the balance between bone formation and bone absorption, thereby improving the situation of bone loss in mice. Thank you. My speech is finished. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for time for me for present my paper. So I'm my name is Johan Sunarno. I'm from Indonesia. I'm from Civil Department in University Kristen Indonesia in Toraja in Indonesia. So I be author and I have 3 co-author. Okay, in this moment I will presentation about with the title effect of chemical characteristic on fly ash on compressive strength of high volume fly ash concrete or HVAC. So my presentation will for outline. The first is introduction, and the second is the material and methodology. Third is result and discussion, and the fourth is the conclusion. Okay, fly ash as an alternative material. So we know that construction industry has continuously utilize fly ash in concrete mix. Fly ash is the waste material from coal combustion at the steam power plant. Now fly ash is used as a supplementary cementitious material in concrete. Fly ash, with use fly ash, we can reduce the carbon dioxide emission caused by the cement production activities. And with use fly ash in concrete, we can produce the better concrete property. It means that can increase the workability of concrete and increase the compactness, increasing the pumpability, increase the strength of concrete, increase the durability, and decrease the water requirement and corrosion potential. With use the fly ash in concrete, is depend of the chemical characteristic of fly ash. So, with the use fly ash in concrete is beneficial for achieving energy conservation, as well as economic, ecological, and technical benefits. So, what is the high volume fly ash concrete? High volume fly ash concrete is concrete that contain at least 50% of the total mass of its spindle. Is refer the standard of ACI number 232.2R. In the application of self-compacting concrete, high volume fly ash concrete mixed with fly ash up to 90% of totally cementitious has been developed and used commercially. So as many countries use the fly ash with the high volume for the concrete. High volume fly ash concrete can increase the workability, strength, durability, pumpability, and thermal properties. So my research is have the purpose. So the research aims to analyze the effect of chemical characteristic of fly ash on the compressive strength of high volume fly ash concrete at several days using the experimental methods. The first, the specimen were made with the 3 variations. So we made 3 versions of the specimen concrete. The first is the concrete with no fly ash. It means that pure using the cement. And the second specimen is the concrete use the fly ash type A. And the third, the third is the concrete use fly ash type B. Next, the first concrete was tested by the slump, but the hardener concrete was tested by the compression strength at the edge of the 3, 7, 40, 28, and 56 day on cylindrical specimen measuring 100 millimeter and 200 millimeter, which has been cured by the water curing. And the 4 is the analysis, the strength activity index or SEI. Okay, material and methodology. So we use the cement Portland. In the table, is show the result of the characteristics. The Portland cement we use from the local cement in Sulawesi in Indonesia. And if we saw the table that chemical and physical characteristic of the cement Portland is meet the standard specification of ISTM C160. Okay, and the next material is the fly ash. So for fly ash, we use the 2 different sources of power plant unit. The first is the name is fly ash A. We take the sample from the steam power plant Cilacap in Indonesia. The type is 2 times 300 megawatt. And the fly ash B we take from the steam power plant Cilacap. The type is 1 times 600 megawatt. On the right table, we see the result of the chemical characteristic of the fly ash. You can see in the fly ash E and fly ash B. So if we refer to the ISTM C618-12, which classification fly ash based on the total content of ICO2 plus Al2SO3 plus the Fa2O3. So we can see that fly ash E categories in fly ash class F with the total content 82.61%. So in the blue circle. And the fly ash B classified as a class C of with the 64.49% for the content of the SO2, Al2O3, and Fa2O3 is 44.49%, with the content high CaO with 21.15%. Next, the aggregate and admixture characteristic. So for the coarse aggregate, we use from the reference stone from Goa in Sulawesi, Indonesia. And for the sand or the fine aggregate, we use the refer from Goa Regency, Sulawesi, Indonesia. So the physical characteristic and coarse in fine aggregate meet standard specification of ISTM and C333. On this experimental, we use the chemical admixture is type F or surplus pressure and type C or accelerator based on sulfonate naphthalene. Okay, for the result and discussion. So we make the mix design. We can see on the table. So the code first MO, M1, and M2. So we can see that M1 is use the 100% OPC or 100% cement. Only use the cement 100%. And the M1 is use the 20% cement content or OPC, ordinary Portland cement, and 80% fly ash type A. And the variation of M2 is use the 20% cement plus 80% fly ash type B. So we can see the design in the table. Okay, and on the result of the fresh concrete test, so we can see that we check by the slum test, and the table is the result of the slum. We can see that average of the specimen MO is 70 centimeters, M1 is 70, and M2 is 73 centimeters. So we can conclusion that all the behavior of the specimen is the self-compacting concrete or SCC. Visual behavior of the MO is homogeneous, slightly stiff, and slightly bleeding. For the M1, homogeneous, stiff, and does not bleeding. M2 is homogeneous, slightly stiff, and bleeding. So, and the next is the result for the compressive strength on the hard concrete. So from the table, we can see that at 3, 7, and 14 days, the compressive strength of M1 was higher than M2. But at the 28 and 76 day, the compressive strength of M2 was higher than M1. The increasing in compressive strength from 28 to 70 days, if MO is 1.7 MPa or only 2.9%. But for M1, increasing about 3.6 MPa or 11%. And M2, strength increased to 6.6 MPa or 14%. So result of the strength in activity index for MO and M1 and M2. So for MO is compared to MO, so that's why it's the 0, the value. So we can conclusion that strength activity index of M2 meet the requirement according to the STM J618 in 12A. That minimum is the 75% at the 28 days. So for the specimen M2 is meet the requirement. Okay. So based on the experimental study, we can conclude the first is the all mixers show behavior of the self-compacting concrete or SCC. Second, the compressive strength values of all high volume phase concrete were lower than the compression strength. Sorry, the compressive strength value of the all high volume phase concrete were lower than the compression specimen of all X of concrete. The third, the content of ACEO2 and ALO3 in fly ash affected the initial compressive strength of concrete at the age of 3, 7, and 14 days. The higher the amount of class A fly ash content, the greater the initial compressive strength. Therefore, the CAO content in fly ash affect the compressive strength of concrete at 28 and 70 days. The higher the CAO content, it means that class C fly ash is the greater the compressive strength at 28 and 16 and 56 days. In concrete, without fly ash, the increasing in compressive strength from 28 to 70 days is very small. It's about 2.9%. Meanwhile, in high volume fly ash concrete, the increasing was quite significant. Is about 11% to 14%. And the last conclusion, Class C fly ash saw a higher strength activity index ratio after 20x day age of high volume fly ash concrete. So it's our reference. Okay, thank you for time for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Myself, Aditya Babu, and with me along I have Venu and Nukula. So today we are here to present the paper, recursive label refinement for weekly semi-supervised channel passing using CNN. And yeah, next slide. Yeah, speakers. Myself, Aditya. So I'm a software engineer at Pathfinder Technologies, Bangalore, India. I started my career in AI and computer vision application. I've finished my MTech in AI and data science from Coimbatore, India. And yeah, our main focus on work will be on related to ADAS spaces, surveillance systems, and other CV frameworks. Next. Yeah, this is my author, Venu Madhavanukula. He's been working as software engineer in Pathfinder Technologies, and he has also started a career on CV algorithms. He has graduated from Ahmedabad School of Engineering, Coimbatore, on the EC Electronics and Communication domain. And he also focused work on the ADAS-based systems, surveillance, and other AI-based tools with GDWise. Yeah, so our company, the Pathfinder Technology, a member of the KPIT group, is actually a product engineering company. We are 15 years into the industry. We are an R&D specialist, and our main focus of work include the areas of embedded operating systems, deep learning, CV, and radar, LiDAR, image technologies, and signal processing with the automotive and intelligent edge devices. Yeah, so coming to the topic introduction, most people who are working in the CV domain or doing research in the CV domain would be familiar with the term of segmentation. It is to basically generate mask or classify an object according to its class. So here we're going to discuss about the part segmentation, which is currently one of the widely researched domains. It basically represents the pixel level semantic annotation, like of each object rather than their object names. For example, for animals, their semantic part segmentation will be for arm, leg, tail, etc. And for human body passing, it would be head, body, torso, legs, etc. So this semantic part segmentation, and to generate the mask at the pixel level, we need to have a more higher accurate model, because without which we won't have a proper or reliable or robust model. So other major application areas of this part-based segmentations include object analysis like vehicle re-ID or animal re-ID identification. There are human analysis tasks, and also along with the VR or the AR sectors. Next slide. Yeah, so talking about the existing works or the existing state-of-the-art architectures, we have encountered across 6 or 7 architectures in which we take the most standardized and the benchmark ones. So first we have the RefineNet. The RefineNet, they have used a weekly semi-supervised framework, and they have achieved the good results for only 2 classes, that is the horse and the cow. But another research gap we found in that paper is that when it was tested with other quadruped classes like dog, cat, and all, what happened was that the results were a little poor. So then we went for the next architecture, where we saw that they took the key point locations as input and converted them into the part segmentation. They used the unit architecture. So in there also we found that their quantitative analysis were not so good comparing to the previous models. In our class model, what happened was that their architecture was a little heavy. That is, heavy, large number of parameters were there. And since they had a small data set, it was overfitting to the training classes. Then in the Taunus Net Plus, the key point heat maps were resulting in a better part segmentation of animals. But again, their qualitative analysis was not easy, as it was not, as it did not yield a major improvement in the area. So in the next paper, we found that they had used post estimation along with the key point key point analysis to get improved the segmentation results, and they did a very good job. But what happened was that when the diversity of poses came in, like for different images of dogs and cats, the results were not so good. Then the recent benchmark for part segmentation was in key point guidance, where they used transfer tasks to get the class part segmentation, but their model was not so generic, and also if a class has less number of label examples, it was not performing good. That's right. So the challenges while taking this use case was that our data sets were a little small, so the problems of overfitting would have existed. So the amount of part mass required at pixel level is very high because we need a very accurate and robust, reliable model. So the ground truth annotation of these data sets might be inevitable because the label noises were a little too much. So what we needed was that we needed something that would have an online refinement process so that this challenge would be encountered. Next. So I'll get into the proposed method. So what we implemented here is that we're implementing a weekly semi-supervised technique which uses an online recursive label refinement process for the task of animal body part segmentation. So here we have taken a CU2P framework. CU2P framework basically uses edge prediction to get the boundaries of different parts of the animals, and along with that we have used our online refinement process to reduce the label noises and to get a better accurate model. So the exclusive objectives of this paper include that we have actually implemented an efficient label refinement strategy with an online recursive learning scheduler for the animal passing challenge, which we saw that it improved our model's performance and also the label prediction. Now to benchmark the RLAP, we have used standard part segmentation datasets across various architectures, keeping the trade-off between accuracy and number of parameters, because the accuracy and we always can get a higher accuracy, but the number of parameters have been very high. So when it comes to the production level, if you don't keep up the trade-off between the accuracy and the number of parameters, it would not be possible. Hence, we had gone to benchmark regarding this accuracy number of parameters. Then we wanted to create a generic framework where it can work with different backbones and also with different or higher number of classes. So from here on, I'll be passing on to Venu to explain the rest.
Yes, thank you, Aditya. So moving on to this architecture design. So we have the input image. We'll pass this input image to the input resizer. Input resizer is nothing but the preprocessing stage. Preprocessing consists of the image resizing along with the transformations. And then we pass to the architecture, CNN architecture. So currently as our baseline, we have used Reset 101 as our baseline. We'll extract the features from the CNN architecture. So we pass the final feature map to the PSP module. PSP stands for Pyramid Scene Passing Network. Pyramid Scene Passing Network is a 4-level structure. Each level consists of a pooling layer followed by convolution layer. So we will pass the feature map to this layer to all the 4 levels in a sequential, in a modularized manner, and then we'll aggregate the features and we pass to this convolution layer. And at the end, we will concatenate the features of this PSP module with the original features so that there is no loss in the there's no loss in the information, like we have every fine-grained information of that. And then we pass this to the decoder module. So decoder module will predict the output. As you see, this is the output of the module. But then we have included one more module called edge learning module, which identifies the contour of the original input. So by passing, we are passing these and the decoder module output to the future so that we improve the quality of the output. Moving on to the next one. So in addition to this quality, we have added one more module called recursive label refinement, which is an iterative process. So in this recursive label refinement, we use an iterative approach to improve the model prediction on a noisy ground truth labels. During this process, the model is first trained on the ground truth animal annotations, and then it is aggregated with the current model trained pseudo label ground truth mass obtained from the previous training model. So this process is repeated several times until the model and the pseudo ground truth labels is just a better accuracy. So moving on to the next one, standard data sets. So currently we have only 2 data sets publicly available for this animal art segmentation. One is partial quadruped part and part image net. So we have trained our architecture on Pascal quadruped part, and we have tested on this part image net. These are some sample images of the Pascal quadruped part dataset. Moving on to the training details. So we have trained our model on 800 GPU machine with the following hyperparameters. So we have used these input dimensions. We have trained on various input dimensions along with STD optimizer with the following loss functions. So we have done extensive experiments on various CNN architectures, such as ResNet 101, ResNet 18, ShuffleNet, EdgeNext. So we have trained on high parameter architectures as well as lightweight architectures as well to see the performance. So these are some results. So if you see, the first row consists of the input images. The second row is the ground truth, and third row is the predicted output. So moving to the next. So this is the comparative visual comparison of the of results with the SOTA architectures, existing methods. So as we discussed prior, there are we have this 6 to 7 predefined methodologies, which is RefineNet, Transform, Hourglass, ResNet, Net Plus, and so on. So when we see, if you observe the mask of the individual thing, we are nearly equal to the ground truth. We are achieving almost nearly equal to the ground truth mask. So moving on to this is the we have tested our model. We have trained our model on Pascal quadruple part dataset, and we have tested this in part image. This is called, we have tested in this part image dataset as well, which is called cross-domain adaptation. That is training on one set, testing on one dataset. So we have tested this on this part image dataset, in which you are saying that results are also acceptable, which matches with the ground truth. Moving to the next. So here, the first 7 rows are the existing approaches. These are approaches. If you see here, the ResNet 101, ResNet 101 gives the best metrics when we compare to the existing approaches, which is 71.27 MIOU. So we have trained with many architectures like ShuffleNet, EdgeNext with very low number of parameters. So we are achieving 65, which is better than the existing approaches with the lightweight architectures as well. As you see, this is a plot with params versus MIOU. So if you see, this is a this is result 101, which has highest parameters. So when we compare the metrics result, it is around 71.4. So it is equally better. We are getting nearly equal with some 5 to 6% drop with the lightweight architectures as well. Moving further. So we have trained our architecture with different image resolutions. As you see, the first 7 are the existing approaches. These are the our approach, our training aspects. So as you see, they have trained on 256, resolution. So we have chosen 224, 224, 473, 473, as well as 512, 512. So if you see our 224, 224 input resolution beats the existing approaches. So ablation study. So to check our model whether how it's performing, by looking into which aspect it is predicting the output. So we have used this GradCam technique to visualize the model. So we have passed our input image, and we have seen by looking into which aspect it is predicting this as the body. So it is focusing on this region and predicting this as the body. If you see for the other attributes like head, legs, tail. So it is focusing on the exact regions, and it is giving the better metric. So we have, this is the positive result. We have one negative result with the sheep class, which is which we are not achieving a bit better result. So if you see here, this legs portion is not predicting accurately, and this tail portion as well. There's no tail, but it's predicting in some random positions in phase and something. So we are still working on this. We are still tackling this problem in the future work. So moving on to the conclusion and future work. So in this, we have provided our own architecture, which is called RLRAP, which builds the existing SOTA architectures. So in the future work, we'll be focusing on improving this sheep class metrics, and we want to train our we don't want to restrict our architectures only to CNN. So we want to spread ourselves, and we want to use transformers and graph neural networks as well. So our future scope will be will mainly focus on transformers and graph neural networks. And these are the few references that we have referred. Thank you.
Thank you. Like very nice research work which you have carried out with respect to.
So it's a pleasure. My name is Victor. I am professor in Department of Gastronomy in Brazil, and in collaboration with Raissa and Victor, we made the paper called "The Importance of Trust in the Relationship Between Local Producers and Luxury Restaurants for the Emergence of Innovations." So, how we can see, recently many studies have tried to understand in deep how innovations in products and processes happens in gastronomy sector. And in Brazil, in particular, the food market has undergone changes, with consumers looking for luxury restaurants in order to have access to new gastronomy products. On the other side, we see so many enterprises trying to work in collaboration and cooperation to have success in the business. In this way, the objective of this paper is to analyze the impact of trust with local partners for emergence of knowledge and innovation in food and beverage sector. About your background, we speak a little about food market and local producers in a first way. So locavorismo is a new tendency, and we have a market, a consumer that prioritize the appreciation of local products. On the other side, we have a new movement called slow food, where the health diet and try to value the place and the environment, and to three pillars: good, clean, and fair food. Moreover, we have the development of new luxury restaurants in Brazil focused on selling local producers with different characteristics, because we have a different environment that we call terroir. And in Mantiqueira, region in São Paulo and Minas Gerais, we have see it happens a lot. In other side, we have a second theory to use it, that is network perspective. We see a movement that the enterprise are embedded in networks and interact for social factors, not just because economy reasons. So in this way, trust is an important social factor that helps companies within a network to access knowledge and develop innovations. In Brazil, in food market, it's important because chefs constantly create new dishes based on new texture, flavors, and smells. In this way, it's important to luxury restaurants to develop relations based on trust with local producers. Moreover, about the methodology, this study is a qualitative one, and we use a single case of study. We apply a structured questionnaire with local producers, and Adelmo was the producer. He does a rapadura It's a product, Brazilian product, and his company stays in Paraisópolis, Minas Gerais, Brazil. After we use a content analysis. So our results show that trust is an important key to give access to differentiated knowledge and heterogeneous resources. And more, trust possibilities the adaptations that are made to meet the needs of luxury restaurants. And in the final, innovations emerge from these exchanges. Example I put here, the rapadura. Rapadura is a sweet, a Brazilian sweet, made by the sugar cane, and it's an example of this innovation, because Adelmo make it in a traditional way, just with the sugar cane. And the chefs in the restaurants next to him asked to put other ingredients to give a differentiation to his product. So all these changes possibilitate the emergence of innovations and help the restaurants and the local producers to have gain of competitive advantages. So in conclusion, we see that trust is an important resource to emergence of innovations, competitive advantages to luxury restaurants and local producers happen because of trust. We have some limitations. One of them was the single case of study, and for future studies, we suggested that it be applied with other actors in the network, like the luxury restaurants we saw. This was the reference. Thank you. Any question, I will send my email to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor, for your good research work. Good work.